The door of the convenience store swung open as James Carter stepped out, holding a cup of cheap coffee and a packet of receipts he still needed to file. The winter breeze brushed past him, but it wasn't the kind of dramatic snowstorm cities usually bragged about. It was just a quiet, dull cold, the kind that freezes fingertips but doesn't make pretty pictures. Across the street, cars glided by with that familiar hum, each one reminding him of the real reason he had been working extra shifts for months. His boots were worn from long days on construction sites, and the faint smell of cement still clung to his jacket no matter how many times he washed it. But today was different. He wasn't walking to another shift. He wasn't heading to help someone patch a wall. He wasn't going to replace pipes or fix a broken porch. Today, he was going to fulfill a promise. A promise he had whispered to himself every night before falling asleep. A promise he had once made to a little girl who believed her father could fix anything. His daughter, Emma Carter. Emma wasn't the kind of kid who asked for much. She didn't beg for fancy phones, she didn't cry for brand-name shoes, and she didn't demand a birthday party in some glittery venue. She was 12, a quiet, thoughtful girl who spent most of her time sketching cars in her notebooks. Sometimes James would come home late at night and find her fast asleep at the table, her pencil still in hand, with a half-finished drawing of a car she wished she could ride someday. Not just any car, a specific one, a model painted in bright flame red. She'd tell him, "Dad, someday, I'll sit in that car with the windows down, and you'll be sitting next to me. We'll play loud music, and we won't be in a hurry to go anywhere." James always replied with a smile he didn't fully feel. "Someday, princess." But inside, he wondered if that someday would ever come. Life had never been kind to James. Bills stacked up faster than paychecks. Medical debt from his wife's illness still followed him like a shadow, even years after she passed. Raising Emma alone wasn't easy, but she never complained, not even once. She grew up around struggle but learned to smile through it. And that smile was exactly why James had been saving every dollar he could. Every overtime shift, every side job, every holiday spent working. Because this Christmas, he wasn't buying something ordinary. He wasn't wrapping a sweater or gifting a toy. He was going to buy the car. Not a toy model, not a cheaper version, but the real thing. The dealership stood on the other end of town like a palace made of glass. Tall panels, shiny floors, bright lights, it felt like stepping into a world built only for people who had never checked the price tag before buying something. A place where money wasn't a goal, just an accessory. James hesitated outside the entrance. He looked down at his jacket, frayed at the cuffs, stained from paint he couldn't scrub off. His boots carried dust from 3 different work sites. He looked like a man who was here to ask for directions, not buy a car. But he straightened his back. He reminded himself why he was here. And he walked in. The moment he entered, a couple of employees glanced at him and then at each other. A short laugh slipped from one of them, not loud, but loud enough. One of the salesmen nudged the other. "Another window shopper," he whispered. James pretended he didn't hear it. He had heard worse. He had lived worse. He scanned the room until he saw it. There it was, the flame-red car. The one Emma had drawn 100 different ways. The one she kept taped above her bed. The one she had called her dream ride. James walked toward it slowly, almost reverently, like approaching a memory. He circled it, touched the door handle, and felt the smooth metal against his hand. For a moment, he imagined Emma sitting inside, squealing with excitement. For a moment, he imagined making her feel like the world really could be kind. "Sir," a voice broke his thoughts. The salesman walked over, the same one who had laughed a moment ago. His fake smile barely covered the judgment in his eyes. "Can I, help you with something?" James nodded. "I'm interested in this one." The salesman's brows shot up. "This one, sir, this model is expensive. Maybe I can show you something more practical. Something that fits your range." "My range?" James echoed quietly. The salesman cleared his throat. "Well, I mean, these cars aren't exactly budget-friendly." Another salesman joined in, smirking. "Hey Rick, maybe he wants to take a picture with it." They both chuckled. James kept his voice calm. "I'd like to see the price, please." Rick shrugged and tapped the screen. $135,000. Not including taxes and registration. The number didn't scare James. He had counted it more times than he could remember. Rick crossed his arms. So, should I take you to the pre-owned section? We have some cars under 10 grand. I said. James interrupted softly, I want this one. The room fell silent for a second. Rick blinked slowly. Sir, I don't want to be rude, but this car is. James's patience finally cracked. Stop assuming what I can or cannot afford. Rick stiffened, embarrassed but still doubtful. James reached into his old leather bag. The same bag he took to every job, the same one covered in dry cement dust. And placed a thick envelope on the hood of the car. Then another. And another. Rick's smile froze. The other salesman stepped closer, eyes widening. Bills, fresh, crisp bills, peeked out from the envelopes. Sir, what is this? Rick stuttered. Count it, James said simply. Rick pulled on gloves and opened the first packet. His jaw dropped. Then he opened the second. And the third. Every packet was filled with stacks of $100 bills. The other employees gathered silently. The smirks faded. The whispers died. Respect, or something close to it, crept into their faces. Rick swallowed hard. Sir, this is the full price. James nodded. Yes. Now, can I buy the car? Rick almost tripped over his words. Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. Let me get the manager. I'm so sorry, we didn't realize. You didn't ask, James replied quietly. The manager rushed in, shaking James's hand too many times. Mr. Carter, we are honored, truly honored, to assist you today. We'll handle all the paperwork immediately. Please, have a seat. Can we get you water? Coffee? James shook his head. I'm fine. I just want the keys. An hour later, the flame-red car rolled out of the dealership, its engine humming like a promise finally fulfilled. James drove it carefully through the neighborhood until he reached home. Emma was inside finishing a school project, unaware that her life was about to change. James knocked on her doorframe. Hey, princess, come outside for a sec. She followed him, not expecting anything unusual. But when she stepped out, she froze. The car stood in the driveway, shining under the dull winter light, bright, bold, impossible. Emma's hands flew to her mouth. Dad, no way, is that the one? The exact one. James nodded, his eyes stinging. But, Dad, how? You couldn't, you were. He knelt down so he was eye level with her. Emma, listen to me. I can't give you everything. I can't give you an easy life, or luxury, or comfort every day. But I can give you proof that your dreams matter. That you matter. And if it takes me a year, or 5, or 10, if it takes everything I have, I'll do it for you. Emma broke down, hugging him so tight he could barely breathe. You didn't have to, Daddy. I wanted to, he whispered. The neighbors peeked from their windows, stunned. None of them had expected James, the quiet handyman, the man who patched walls and fixed fences, to show up with a car like that. But they didn't know the real story. They didn't know the nights he worked with blistered hands. They didn't know the exhaustion he swallowed to keep going. They didn't know the promise he made to his daughter. Love wasn't loud. It didn't brag. It didn't post selfies. It didn't need permission. Love simply gave. Meanwhile, at the dealership, the two salesmen stared at the empty spot where the red car used to stand. Rick muttered, I misjudged him. The manager replied, people like him, they're the real class. Rick nodded slowly. No more judging by clothes. Ever. That night, Emma sat in the passenger seat of her dream car. James started the engine. They didn't go anywhere fancy. No highway, no scenic drive, no special destination. They just drove. Father and daughter. Laughing, talking, living the kind of moment money could never buy. For Emma, it was the best night of her life. For James, it was worth every dollar he ever earned. And for anyone watching them pass by, it was a reminder.